Hey guys, welcome back to the Movement Project. So today we're doing a movement prep for the CrossFit workout 14.3. So we've got a ton of deadlifts and some box jumps. We're going to start with soft tissue prep of the feet, calves, and hips. Alright, then we're going to work into some joint distraction of the hip, work anteriorly and posteriorly, moving that femur around in the hip socket. And then movement prep, we're going to do dead bugs, glute bridges, and inchworms. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the workout and then recovery options. So soft tissue prep, we've done this before, nothing new. I've got my supernova ball. You can use a lacrosse ball, a golf ball. You're just going to roll on the bottom of your feet. Really important that you get that plantar fascia and all those musculatures on the bottom of the foot ready to go for some constant bounding. Alright, so 2 minutes on one, 2 on the other. Make sure if you do feel a tender spot, you try to push some weight on that spot and breathe through it. Alright, focus on those tender bits. Focus more on the more tight side. So if you have an asymmetry, let's take a little bit more time on that side. Alright, from there we're going to tack down the calves. So I'm just going to take my bottom leg, put it on top of the supernova ball. Then I'm going to tack down my top leg so that I can get some pressure on it. I can kind of smooth out all those matted tissues, see if I can unbind some of that bound up stuff. And I can even kind of tack down a spot and work into some dorsiflexion because that's the position that we usually are restricted in. Alright, so I can spend a couple minutes on both calves there. And then I'm going to go into the hip. I want you guys to work on anterior, lateral, and posterior hip. So let's start in the front. We've done this before, working lower abdominals because the hip flexors innervate all the way up to the lower spine, and then even through the quads and upper quad. Alright? Working on the side can be really important because the top of that IT band insertion gets really, really matted up. And then even back onto the glute. Okay? So cross the leg. Bear a lot of weight, work on the tender spots. Remember, breathe into those really tender spots. Alright, joint distraction from there. So I've got my band hooked up into my door. I'm going to work anteriorly first, so I'll put it right underneath my hip. I'm going to get it to pull my femur forward, get half kneeling, and then I'm going to search around. It's good to kind of reach your arm up so that you can kind of extend all the way fully so that your psoas is extended as well as all those other hip flexors, and work forward, trying to push my hip forward, squeeze the glute, contract, relax, and find out and explore where the most restricted spots are in that position. Doing both legs, of course, but then we want to flip around and work into the posterior chain. So since we're doing a lot of deadlifts today, let's go ahead and do some good mornings. I'll go ahead and just give a slight bend to my right knee as it's pulling my femur back. And I'm just going to work, brace the midsection, keep the back straight, shoulder blades retracted, and I'm just going to work into some good mornings, okay? If this helps you kind of keep a straight back, the hands behind the head is a good option. Alright, do a few of those and then you can straighten the leg. Alright, even doing some twisties, you can get kind of the lateral side, medial side. And when you get through that, then we're going to go into some movement prep. So dead bugs are a good option because what we're going to have to do is make sure our spine is as straight as possible for this workout because you're working with some heavy loads and some crazy volume. So tighten up your midsection to start. I like to say brace and draw your navel into your spine. So low back stays flat, you've got the feedback from the floor. If you start to feel it popping, then you got to stop and reset. Alright, so set up the spine just like you would for a deadlift. Arms straight up, legs straight up. We're trying to keep the knees locked and the toes pulled in. You're going to take both your arms down and your right leg down, hold for 5 seconds. Breathe. If your breathing is restricted, you've got a problem. You probably shouldn't be doing deadlifts. Alright, make sure you can breathe. Alright, we're going to do 10 on each leg with a 5-second hold. Again, back stays flat for the whole time that I keep that leg down. 10 on each side. When I get through, glute bridges, we're going to do 20 glute bridges. Just like you're going to screw your feet into the ground for your deadlifts, you're going to do the same thing with your feet in the glute bridge. So screw your feet in the ground, get a good grip, lift your hips up, and then just to avoid the lower back from taking over, drive one knee and do isolated glute bridges, so one leg and then the other. You're going to do 20. So you're just pumping out reps, engage the glute at the top, alright, so that those glutes are firing for the deadlifts. And then to finish that movement sequence, you're going to do some inchworms, okay? Same thing, brace the midsection, squeeze the glutes, alright, so we got a little core activation at the bottom, and then we're going for a hamstring stretch, or rather a whole stretch down the posterior chain at the top. Alright, you've got 10 inchworms, or go until you know you've made change and you've improved. Alright, just also... Why are you dancing? Derek's dancing. Alright, and just making sure that we have a good idea of how you can recover from a really, like I said, there's a lot of volume. You're loading up your spine big time. I would suggest to do some kind of decompression drill. I was going to show you guys something cool, but I don't have the facility to do it right now. So some kind of way to decompress your spine afterwards. And ice bath. An ice bath will help with that inflammation recovery, okay? So you want to get the blood flow into the tissues, so going into an ice bath restricts blood, you get out, blood rushes back, inflammation cycle can go a little quicker. Movement, another way to just get blood flowing. So don't think just because you're really, really sore for the next 4 days that you should just sit on a chair, because if you sit in a chair, this is how your body's going to repair itself in this hunched over posture. So make sure that you're moving, keep working on mobility. It's going to be more crucial after this workout than ever. And then foam rolling, obviously, okay? So smash all over your hips, your back, and your feet and calves. All right, so that's my suggestions for 14.3. Good luck.